We'll be talking to a young man who wants to share his battle with addiction and also overcoming addiction with the whole world, so that you at home, if you are battling with any form of addiction, you can begin to apply the steps he took to get over whatever that addiction is that has taken control of your life. I'm talking about John Asogonnde. He is the author of Breaking Up with Mary Jane. And he's here with us throughout the conversation. If you need questions for him, let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily. The WhatsApp line is 0550-585-832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself before we get to your journey with the whole weed and everything else? But what was life like as a kid? What did you do for fun?
Well, my name is John Asogonnde, and I was born some 25 years ago.
Oh, wow. You're young.
Yeah, I am. I'm not too young, though. I'll be 26 in April. So.
Oh, wow. Yes, you're old.
Yeah, and so I was born to a Christian family. My dad is a pastor, and my mom is a caterer.
Okay.
And I was born in the Volta region, OT region now.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically life was very comfortable as a kid. I attended the best school in my community, and I was very interested in computer. And also,
even at that age?
Yeah, even at that age. People used to call me computer wizard when I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, life was pretty good.
When did you first meet Mary Jane?
Oh, I met
What was
Mary
that
Jane,
first meeting like?
I met Mary Jane in the university, my level 100.
Okay. And what drove your curiosity? Walk us through what happened, because I must say he's a really great writer. When you're reading a book, you feel like it's a love story. He doesn't talk about it like just read. So walk us through that first date.
So, I mean, before I got to university, I was already smoking cigarettes.
Why?
From the secondary school.
Okay, let's talk about the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Why did you, what happened with the
peer
cigarettes?
pressure, basically, because I went for a party with some of my seniors, and they introduced me to the cigarettes.
Okay.
So I decided to try it because I wanted to feel cool and all that. So, but I wasn't very.
You didn't like it?
I didn't really like it, but I smoked every now and then. So when I got to university, there was always an argument that marijuana is better than cigarettes because marijuana is natural. It doesn't contain nicotine as cigarettes, and so I was curious. At that age, I was very curious about involving myself in any kind of activity that I thought would bring me fun. So I started smoking marijuana in level 100.
Okay.
And to be honest, I really enjoyed it. I loved it.
You loved it. What did you
it.
like about it?
I mean, one notable thing was it made me eat more because it gives you appetite. So after smoking, I was able to eat more than I could on a regular basis. And it also helped me with my shyness. So I was able to interact with people more and, felt a bit bubbly at parties. I was having fun and all that. So I think that's one thing that actually drew me
At what
closer.
point did you realize that this thing is now controlling my life and I need to end it?
Yeah, so after 2 years, by the time I was going to level 300, I noticed it wasn't helping me. I actually failed 4 courses like 4 courses.
How?
Just like that. I mean, I was not going to classes any longer. We were always in the hostel, smoking, partying in the hostel. We didn't care about lectures any longer. And so even though I was a smart guy, I failed 4 courses straight up. So at that point, I realized, this habit is not going to take you anywhere.
Wow.
And you have to put yourself in check. But I wasn't able to quit because at that point I was very addicted. So I only tried harder to be able to graduate, but I still continued smoking.
So were the people who knew you before you started smoking Mary Jane, did they react to you differently? Were they able to see that you were no longer that bright young man they knew?
Yeah, I think a lot of people noticed because, I would always go on Facebook and rant, insult celebrities, criticize people and just, say weird stuff on social media. And so I think some people realize this guy is just becoming recalcitrant and all that. But I mean, nobody really confronted me about it. And my parents even didn't know I was smoking until after 4 years or 3 years of,
And when they finally found out, what did they do?
So, my dad is a pastor, like I said. So, they called me, they spoke to me, and I promised them I was going to stop. But still, I didn't stop.
Why was it so difficult for you to stop?
I was addicted, and with marijuana addiction, it's very difficult to stop if you don't have a strong willpower. And sometimes the circle of people you find yourself among also makes it very difficult for you to stop smoking.
So you're now hanging out with people who are also smokers themselves?
Yeah, definitely. After school, I was working in the entertainment industry.
Okay.
And so most of the times the people that I was hanging out with were definitely smokers. And it came at ease because at the studio there's always weed. When you go to the nightclub, there's always weed. So at this time I don't even have to struggle to, find my weed to smoke. So it made the habit even increasing.
How many years did you smoke?
Roughly 6 years. It's 5 years in a few months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was that final moment where you said, this is it, I'm not doing it anymore? What were the days leading up to that?
Well, so it was in September 2018. And prior to that, in March, I chanced upon a sermon by Dr. Mensa Otabil on TV. The title was Stepping Out from Your Prison.
Stepping out from your prison.
Yeah, and
okay.
Life was quite miserable because even though I would smoke, get drunk and all that, I felt some kind of emptiness within me. So when I saw the message, I instantly listened to it. And then...
So now we are watching pictures of John during the days where he was in love with Mary Jane. And as you can see, just another regular, teenager having fun, clubbing, drinking. You see pictures of someone like this on social media and you think they are living a life and you have no idea of the battles they have to deal with. Did you have any psychological issues during those days where you were, constantly engaging in smoking marijuana?
Yeah, it wasn't a very it wasn't a very difficult situation like mental breakdown, but I was always having paranoia. I was always hallucinating sometimes.
What happens when you hallucinate?
You go somewhere and then you feel like everybody's coming against you, or like, sometimes you feel like you are left behind, or I don't really know how to put it now because it's been a while I've even had that kind of feeling. Now I'm very peaceful, I'm very joyful. So, but I remember I used to have a lot of paranoia back then.
But then you didn't even see that you were doing anything wrong because everyone around you.
No, of course, everybody was doing the same thing. And, nowadays it's very common. You find this in music videos, you find this in movies. People are even calling for the legalization of marijuana. So it didn't seem like something bad to me. And honestly, I'll tell you what, anybody who smokes at a point, they realize it's not good for them. But
how?
Because basically what marijuana does is that it eliminates your willpower, your focus, your ambition. And so as a young person, when you start smoking for some time, you notice that you're not being able to focus on things you want to get done. You're not able to, aspire to reach your ambitions any longer. But most of the times you're just in self-denial and because of the peer pressure again, you don't want to look like you're the weak one, so you just cover it up and continue smoking. But deep down, every smoker knows that marijuana is not helpful.
Was there ever a time where you asked yourself, I could have probably been further in life if I had not allowed this thing control me?
Not necessarily, because I was doing what I loved. I loved the entertainment industry. And so working with some of the biggest companies in the country by then, I felt like I was doing well. Yeah, so I didn't really... But one thing maybe is I could have graduated with a better class. Okay. I came out with a second class lower. Okay. And I know very well I could have done better. So
graduated to the first class.
Definitely, I could have got first class easily because I didn't even graduate secondary school before getting admission to university. Wow. I wrote NOVDEC a year prior to my WASI time, and then I passed, so I got admission to university. So I was quite a brilliant student.
Wow. Yeah. So let's get back again to when you finally decided to talk about Dr. Otabil.
Yeah. So, in March 2018, I came across that message, stepping out from your prison, and, it intrigued me. You're talking about how, you need to make better choices in your life, and even though God might come true for you, sometimes you have to step out yourself and make changes in your life to reach your destiny. But after listening to that message, it was just one of those things. My dad even is a pastor, so I've heard
it your whole life.
Yeah, so, but... through March to September, I kept listening to him once every now and then. And I remember in September, one cozy evening, I was in my room, I was watching TV again, and then I was actually smoking. So I took my very last puff. When I took the last puff, I felt like, nah, look, I'm not doing this any longer. It's not helpful. So I went to the toilet, and then I just flushed it. And since then, I've never smoked again.
Wow. a lot of people try to break their addictions, and it's not as easy as throwing it in a toilet bowl, flushing it, and call it in a day. The next day, did you get an inkling to, you know what, I know yesterday I felt like we're breaking up, but today I kind of miss you, let's get back together?
Well, I attribute everything I've become to God. I think with Christ, everything is possible, and definitely that's what has been able to help me, say no to smoking and being firm in that belief. But like you said, it's very difficult to quit addiction, and it requires a lot of willpower and dedication to actually be successful at it. But with me, I think it's just by the grace of God that I was able to quit instantly and then never looking back.
But you shared some steps with us on people who don't have a great willpower like you. Day one, what you should do day two. So what informed those decisions?
I captured in my book, I captured a daily guide, 30-day guide from day 1 to 30, where you can follow and, hopefully be inspired to quit. And this basically came from my own experiences after I quit. So I noticed some of the things that were happening. And very, very honestly, some of the things you need to do is, get rid of every smoking material you have. And maybe sometimes distance yourself from the people, from other smokers, so that you're not tempted to go back into it. So I've captured that vividly in the book.
How did you deal with the whole smoking helping you eat and all of that?
Oh, I mean that wasn't really a problem, because at a point, even when you smoke a lot, you even get to a point where you eat unhealthy meals, because you're always high, and then you settle for junk food, and so it wasn't really a problem with the eating habit.
Okay, can I read a page from the book for our viewers? Okay, so I'm reading from Breaking Up with Mary Jane, page 26, and he starts off every day with a quote. So he has a quote here by Michael Jordan: "I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but I can't accept not trying. Today is the beginning of your decision to quit. The first month of any substance is the most important." Do you want to continue for me since you have the page open?
All right, so taking it one day at a time is the easiest way to get there. Don't worry about tomorrow or the next. Just stay with today. Each time you get through the edge and craving, you are closer to success. For today, make a list of genuine reasons you want to quit. Be proud of each success through a craving or urge. Remember the positive payoff for success. Reward yourself at the end of the day.
Is that what you did your first day? Or you've noticed other friends who struggled and you made notes of it?
Yeah, so at least for me, for my first day, I made a list of genuine reasons I wanted to quit. I told myself I wanted to be a better person. I wanted to be able to fulfill my purpose. I wanted to be able to get things done. So those were some list of genuine reasons why I wanted to quit. And with that, it always reminds you, anytime you want to take another hit, it reminds you, no, look, you're doing this for the greater good. And so just stay true. And also, it's just by taking it one day at a time. I didn't really worry about a 1 year time or 2 years. And now it's been over a year, but I didn't even look at it that way.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a big
yeah,
step.
so I was just taking it one day at a time. Every day, at the end of the day, when I realized I haven't smoked, then I give glory to God and just, continue like that way.
But how also, because when you are smoking weed, you are not productive, you are just there, you don't have any willpower. You stop smoking, that does not mean those habits are still not there with you. So you're not smoking anymore. But then you're still not productive. You still don't have the willpower. Where do you now get that strength to say, I'm going to document everything I'm feeling and I'm going to ensure I get through this day?
Well, so, contrary to that, honestly, when you quit smoking, in the very first week, you experience a tremendous change in your energy levels. You experience a tremendous change in your motivation to get things done. So for me, once I quit smoking, I started having time to focus on myself and to reflect in actual. Because before, every time you're high and every time you're looking for the next place to get the dopest weed, or you're looking for the next friend to go out and smoke with. But when you quit and now you have all the time to yourself, you sit there and then you start to think about things you you can get done. And so that's how it began for me. I mean, after I quit, I always just got inspired to get things done.
But there are people who have withdrawals. Like me, I've never smoked, but I'm addicted to some type of food or, pastry. So if I don't eat it today, I'm happy, but tomorrow I'll be thinking of how beautiful it is, how it makes me feel when the sugar breaks down. So you start romanticizing the thing. And there are people who are not like you who experience these withdrawals, and then they end up right back.
Yeah, so
to that
it's very
habit.
important to replace every bad habit with a good one.
Okay, how do you do that practically?
So you have to look for other things. When I stopped smoking, one of the things I began to do was to read a lot.
Okay.
I didn't used to read a lot, so I decided I was going to read at least 4 books every month.
Okay.
And I did pretty good with that. So it's very important to replace your bad habits with good ones. If it's with food, you can decide to do something else whenever the craving comes to.
Like go for a walk.
Watch a movie or read a book.
No, movies will make me want to eat. But I mean, you can't.
Well, yeah,
watch a movie without
so
eating.
it depends on
who you are too.
who you are and all that. But it's very important to just find some good habits and replace them with.
Now, you've gone through your addiction.
Yeah.
You've overcome the addiction. What now inspired you to say, I'm going to share this story with the world?
Well, as a Christian now, I understand that it's very important to share testimony. One thing it does is it helps you to stay grounded in whatever belief you've made for yourself, and also it inspires other people out there to follow in your footsteps. And so I felt like I still have a lot of friends who smoke. I realized that there are a lot of young people in the secondary schools these days and even the universities who also smoke. And so I felt like if God has been able to do this for me, then it was only right for me to share my story with them and hopefully inspire other young people to quit and become more purposeful in life.
Did you study literature in school? What did you study in uni?
Human resource management.
So what was the process like? Write it. And I'm assuming this is your first book.
It is, yeah.
What was that? And why did you decide to write it like a love letter?
Well, yeah, so, Mary Jane for me, Mary Jane is actually marijuana. Mm-hmm. So breaking up with Mary Jane is breaking up with marijuana. But I chose that title because Mary Jane was a very intimate thing for me. I was smoking over 5 rolls a day, So
wow.
This was something I was really close with. This was something I really got to know very well. And so I didn't just want to tarnish the image of marijuana and make it look like it's evil. And so I decided to share the true experience, the things that made me fall in love with it, and also the reasons why I decided to part ways with it. And that's why in the book I write like it's a love story between me and a girl, which is marijuana.
Did you have a girlfriend at the time, and did it affect your relationship in any way?
Well, yeah, I had a girlfriend, but we even broke up. We broke up before I broke up with Mary Jane.
Why?
It was issues with, infidelity and not being really there for her.
Because you were so connected to Mary Jane that you didn't
not
feel
just with
any
Mary
need.
Jane, but because of my smoking habits, I was not upright in my other beliefs, and so I was a womanizer. I was getting drunk.
Oh wow!
I was I wasn't just the best boyfriend. So I mean, I don't blame her. What?
Did you regret it?
I don't really regret it.
Do you think you could have been a better boyfriend to her?
I would have. Yeah, I would have.
Okay. How does it, trickle into other aspects, like spill into other aspects of your life? Because if you're a brilliant student, and you're not even taking your academics seriously, of course you're not going to care about the people in your life, and you're not going to apply yourself. So the people who are watching, who are probably defensive when their loved ones try to bring their attention to it, that you don't care about life anymore, do you have any ideas for them?
I feel like we all have a very short time on this earth, and life is really short. And so if you are blessed to be here, you have to make a conscious effort to make the best out of every moment and to make the best out of every day. When I was smoking, I was hardly in touch with my parents. I didn't used to even speak to my mom, my siblings. I would always avoid them and all that.
Because you think they would judge you?
Yeah, I feel like they would judge me. They wouldn't understand me, and basically, when you're high and even in interaction with people, you're always lost because your mind is traveling to different places and you find yourself, lost in intellectual conversations. So because you want to avoid certain embarrassments, you tend to avoid the ones you love. And so, I've lost a good amount of time with my younger siblings. You know, I haven't been there whilst they're growing up to actually be able to bond with them and all that. So I think it's very necessary to make the best out of every moment you have on this precious earth.
How did your friends who you used to party, smoke with, how did they react to the first time you told them I've stopped? What did they say?
Trust me, they didn't believe it. Because Hemet is the guy who is always having the weed, you know.
Your name is Hemet?
Hemet, yeah.
Okay.
They call me John Hemet. So, I mean, I was always the one rolling up. I was always the one driving to go get a weed. You know, I have a lot of dealers around.
You're the weed champion.
So, you know, they didn't understand. Some of them didn't even know the dealers. So, I had to be the one to, you know, go and get it. So it was a big shock. It came as a big shock to them. Some of them even were betting that, this boy Charlie, you will come back if you 9 day wonder, it just be something. So they were figuring out that maybe I would come back to the habit later. But you know, 1 week passed, 2 weeks passed, 3 weeks passed, and still this guy is not, you know, he's not giving in. So. But
what was that light at the end of the tunnel that made you say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to stick to.
Yeah, I think
not smoking.
God just revealed to me that I could be a better person, and then I could make something better of my life instead of, you know, I was not living with purpose. I was living a careless life, you know, not caring about the implications of my actions or what I wanted to become in future. So with that revelation that God made to me, I realized, look, it's high time for you to become purposeful.
And how did you now set your life back on track? So you moved away from your friends. How difficult was that?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, they started spreading rumors around. Hey, John Hemet, right now if you meet him, he's just preaching to you. You know, so we grew apart. We sort of grew apart, obviously.
Was it painful?
To me, it wasn't really painful because I knew it was going to happen. I wasn't ready to sacrifice my belief just to make them happy. So even though they kept on making rumors about me, I didn't really care because I knew what I wanted to make of myself. You know, so after about 3 months, I just had to quit my job.
Okay.
Yeah, because
you were no longer interested in the.
Of course, I have passion for entertainment, so I was still very, you know, concerned about impacting the entertainment industry, but that immediate environment wasn't the best for me because in the studio there's always weed, in the club there's always weed, so I realized it was just best for me to quit and, you know, focus on other things. And
so when you quit, what were you now doing? Because I mean, you can't not have Mary Jane and also be broke.
I know, right? You know, so definitely God provides for me every single day. But after I quit, I started putting more time into the book.
Okay.
And a few months later, I launched the book. It did very well. I sold over 500 copies.
Wow.
Yeah, and last year as well, MTN purchased an extra 1,000 copies. Nice. And with those 1,000 copies, these are some of them. I'm supposed to give them out for free. So if you look here, it's 100% free. Yeah, so I still have about 800 copies. I want to give out to secondary school students. You know,
Can some of our viewers get copies since you're here?
Definitely. I mean, I visited my alma mater, my secondary school. I gave them 50 copies.
Wow.
And I'm also looking to go to secondary schools across the country to donate it to them for free.
How does it feel? Like if you see where you are now versus where you were 5 years ago? Walk us through how it feels.
It feels amazing. You know, these days I hardly face any challenges I'm not able to overcome. You know, I'm filled with more peace, more love, more joy, and life is just, you know, basically awesome.
But when you do get that urge, what is the thing that you are able to tell yourself to overcome it? Because there are so many people battling with addiction. They may make it past 1 day, 2 days, 1 month, 3 months, but then they'll just relapse because it's such an intimate bond with whatever it is that they are addicted to that it's so easy to just fall right back in.
Well, you know, I believe going back to an old habit is like taking 1 step forward and taking 2 steps backward. You know, it means you're not going anywhere. So it's very important to solidify your reasons to quit and and always look at the brighter picture, look at the future, look at the legacy you are trying to leave behind. So you don't want to mess up the legacy. And that's another thing why it's very important for you to share your testimony. Because right now, even if I go back to smoking, I'm going to disappoint a whole lot of people. Everybody knows I've quit smoking. I've written a book about it. Imagine people who are reading my book only to find out that I've gotten back into the habit of smoking. So I think when you're dealing with something, you have to talk to people about it, be open about it, so that even when you're tempted to go back, you realize that, no, I've told this person I'm not doing this any longer. And so how would this person feel if he realizes that I've gone back into this habit?
Do you have friends who tried and failed? Tried to quit smoking and failed? And what was their journey like?
I have a few friends, but I believe they've not just made up their mind yet, because they are not ready to sacrifice. It's lonely sometimes, because when you don't get to hang out with your friends who smoke any longer and you're not able to do certain things, sometimes it's lonely, and it takes an amount of, you have to be ready to sacrifice, that's mid-term joy or that mid-term happiness just for the greater picture. And so I feel like once I can do it, anybody else can do it. I'll tell you a story. Just last night, I visited the studio to see some of my old friends. And when I go to the studio, they were smoking. But, I didn't criticize them or condemn them. I was just hanging out with them, and I feel like it's important for them to see the change that has occurred in my life. Before I left the studio, one of them was like, "Hey, Charlie, if John Hermit go stop smoking, then me too, I go do one." So I think it's very necessary for us to live by example, so that people can see that, oh, if this person is able to do it, then I can also do it.
What about family members who may have a brother or a sister addicted to weed and they can't connect to the person? How do we also make sure we don't isolate them? Because it could be a cry for help. Yeah.
Definitely, so it's very important not to condemn people who are involved in activities like that. In Africa, it's very common for people to liken smoking to evil spirits and, all sorts of spirituality. And I think it's very important to rather draw closer to those people, show them love, be there for them, encourage them, and take it easy with them, let them understand that they could do better without smoking.
And for young people in our secondary schools and our universities who feel as though they can't have fun without smoking cigarettes, without smoking weed, what do you want to tell them?
I mean, you see, the amount of happiness marijuana brings you is it cannot be compared to the amount of peace you would have if you depend on yourself for happiness. You don't have to depend on a substance to feel motivated or to feel encouraged in life.
Mm-hmm. So what are we looking at here?
So that was me with the CEO of Mental Health Authority, Dr. Akua Ametam.
Wow.
I donated a portion of the profits from my book to the Mental Health Authority.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's a check I'm presenting to them. I also gave them 50 copies of the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's me at my alma mater. I was speaking to the students.
What school is it?
KGB Asatu Senior High School.
What kind of feedback did the students give you?
It was very positive. I mean, they were very inspired. They had heard a lot of stories about me. I used to rap back then in school as well. So I had a song.
So you're a very popular student.
Yeah, so, I think most of them had heard of me already, and they were just happy to see me there to speak to them and, inspire them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and God being so good, I won an award for the book at the 2019 Youth Excellence Awards in the category of best literary excellence.
Wow! So we're so proud of you. What can we expect from you next?
So I'm actually working on a movie this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you've been very productive since you broke up with Mary Jane. You are an author, motivational speaker.
I started my own company, yeah.
Wow, okay. What's the movie about?
The movie is actually, I wouldn't say it's an adaptation of the book, but it has a lot to do with the book. So this movie basically revolves around a young musician who is addicted to, the fame and the luxury, smoking, womanizing, and at the end of the day, he finds Christ, and so he gives his life to Christ and then becomes a better version of himself. And the inspiration actually came from Kanye West, the American rapper who also became born again recently.
Okay.
So I'm combining his experience with my personal experience because I also worked in the music industry for some time.
Yeah, you were with Black Avenue.
Black Avenue, yeah. Black
How
Avenue
difficult was
Music.
it to leave?
It wasn't easy because I and Black have a very tight connection, and so it wasn't very easy to leave.
But he understood why.
Oh yeah,
you
he
had to
definitely
leave.
understood.
Where do you get your willpower from? Because you make all these things sound so easy.
It's God.
And it's not.
It's not me.
But it's
you know?
not that easy.
It's
okay,
definitely
so
not
where
easy.
do you? And we all have God. We are all children of God, and He's there for us. But how do we get that resilience?
Do we all have God? You know, I thought
because He's there for us. Even sinners.
He's definitely there for us. But that's the thing. Are you there for Him? Because I used to attend church before I became born again, and that's really important. A lot of people think that I have God, I'm a Christian, I go to church. But going to church doesn't save you. You need to have a personal relationship with God. You need to communicate with Him. You need to love Him. You need to be committed to Him. And so I think that's what has been doing it for me.
So what role did that strong, intentional, deliberate spirituality play in the entire journey for you, knowing that there was a being higher than you that you were accountable to?
I was fearless. I didn't fear anything any longer. I knew that if God is the creator of heaven and earth, and He's able to do exceedingly above everything I could think of, and I felt like He has given me the power to command anything I want to see come true. And so, just believing in God has given me a tremendous amount of, power and belief in my own abilities to conquer the world.
And we're so proud of you for
Thank you.
Not only overcoming your addiction to Mary Jane, but sharing your story with the world so that we'll all be inspired. Where do we get the book? If someone does not want to get a free copy and they actually want to buy the books for some kids?
It's actually out of stock. The first 500 copies I sold already, and I only have the free copies now. But I'm printing new ones in February, and so those will be out. But I think there are still a few copies at the Accra Mall, Starlight shop. There are a few copies you can grab there.
But how do we contact you if we want to engage you?
I could put my number out there for people who want to contact me. So it's 0244 370 760.
Okay.
0244 370 760.
And do you have a social media handle?
Yeah, my social media handles are I am John Hemmit. Hemmit is spelled Hermit. So I am John Hemmit.
So you've kept the Hemmit.
Yeah, everybody knows me as Hemmit. So
okay, so I can call you Hemmit now because I know
definitely.
you. Thank you so much, John Hemmit, for being with us.
Thank you,
It's
Dziffa.
been such a pleasure. We're in a country where people don't share their stories, right? There's no shame to it. Actually sharing your story is a part of the journey, because once you share the story, people will hold you accountable, and then you'll begin to inspire them as well to not get into the habit. The book is Breaking Up with Mary Jane. He's a young, gifted man. Even with the whole smoking thing, he still managed to graduate school with a decent grade, but he could have done more with his life if he had stopped. So I encourage all of you, if you have someone in your family dealing with addiction, pick up the book, read it with them, start a conversation. Don't come across judgmental, but focus more on empathizing with them and helping them heal from this addiction, because it is possible to heal and also have a productive life.
We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends. This is Breakfast Daily on Citi TV.
Join the Breakfast Daily team Monday through Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 10. Join us for breakfast daily, only on Citi TV.